Welcome back. This is your feel-good breakfast show, Espresso, on SABC3. On this Family Day, and we're talking all about the issues surrounding the importance of family and how we go about protecting our families. And one organization that's doing that is called RAPCAN. Now, they stand for Resources Aimed at the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect. And they work to promote the rights and protection of children in South Africa and in the region. I've got Christina Nomdo, who joins me here this morning to tell me a bit more about the organization. Welcome to you. Thank you for coming on your public holiday.
Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Give me a bit of a background on RAPCAN. Your logo here says proudly here, championing children's rights for 25 years. What it is that you do exactly?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for inviting us on our 25th anniversary year. We're very proud to be an organization that's weathered the storms for the 25 years. As you've rightly said, our organization orientates from a human rights approach, focusing specifically on children. So if I simplify it, I say we promote the safety of children to be free from harm, so the protection of children. And then we also promote the participation of children in everyday life. So in everyday decisions that affect their lives. So promotion of protection and participation of children in society.
Yeah, and it's sad that even though we're celebrating Family Day today, that many of our children are subjected to abuse and neglect out there in our country. So how does RAPCAN go about contributing towards addressing this issue?
So I think our focus has changed a little bit in the last few years, and I must mention that because many people still think of us as an organization that responds to cases of child abuse.
Okay.
So we've moved a little bit further into evidence-based practice for prevention. So when I say prevention, we look at secondary prevention, so working with individuals and communities at risk of abuse, and then working at the underlying factors in society that actually make this happen. Patriarchy, for example. The fact that adults are not able to claim their socioeconomic rights, that we're still struggling with poverty. And that's those stresses, really fall on the children then in those families.
Tell me a bit more about some of the successes you've achieved over the past 25 years.
So for the last 10 years, for example, we've had a project within several sexual offences courts in the Western Cape. The project's known as the Child Witness Project. And this witness project helps children to testify against their perpetrators in court. It's a horrible thing, but children do need to be witnesses in cases where they are accusing somebody of abusing them. And this project, we design these demonstration projects to help governments see that there are innovative ways to do programs. And in recent years, we've managed to then get the Western Cape Department of Social Development to buy into this program so much that they've now institutionalized it. In the criminal justice system, the NPA and the Department of Justice places enormous value on this project. And they're looking at seeing whether this project is applicable in other sexual offences courts.
Wow, that is amazing work.
Yeah, that's one of our protection projects. One of our participation projects is a project that we've done in the Lavender Hill community. Very well known for adverse things like gang violence, for example. So we've designed with kids messages, we call it communications for social change. Messages in the form of music, where children communicate themselves, how they feel about living in the community, how they experience poverty, marginalization, and also their hopes and dreams for a better South Africa. So totally unscripted, the kids come up with the words of the songs themselves, and then they speak in a very genuine way to adults. So these are some of our really highlights of our 25 years.
But I bet that the real highlight in it, when you look at the past 25 years, comes in the difference you've made in every single child's life. What have been some of the responses or some of the reactions and the life turnarounds that you've seen after helping, let's say, a particular child or a group of children?
Well, in this project, the Lavender Hill for Life project, for example, we permitted some of the beneficiaries in the project, the youth beneficiaries, to come and work with as interns in RAPCAN. And one of them have a permanent job in the organization. They're going to be social change agents in other communities, like Groendal in Franschhoek. That's where we're branching out into our next project. We're going to be working in Groendal in Franschhoek on child participation. Also, I think one key highlight for us in the previous year was the court case that we won right up in constitutional level.
Wow.
It was to protect the children's right to sexual autonomy. So our organization's a bit scary to people because we are really progressive in the fact that we try to make people think about how they box children, how they see children only as innocent and the need for them to be protected. But we also want to encourage adults and others to see the value that children bring in society. They have a particular perspective. I always make the example of technology. Who you go to get your technology sorted. You go to the child because they understand instinctively technology. Children have other values. I mean, often we talk about teens, for example, that are quite difficult to raise and so on. But we must just understand that they really make us reflect on the stereotypes and the norms in our society. They try to rebel against that so that we can just think a little bit about whether those still work for us as a society.
And just finally, before we go, maybe a message, especially as we look upon this day as Family Day, to families out there, to parents, and more importantly, fathers, and the role they have to play in making sure that our families are protected, that they stay together, that our kids grow up in a healthy environment. What would you say to them?
I think the prevention of child abuse is a very personal thing, and it is based in the family. So I want people to ask themselves 2 questions. How do they discipline their children? Do they use violent means? Because that already is an indicator of something that's not quite right. You know, we don't promote violence in any way. And then, are they that adult, the trusted adult that maybe a little bit older children can come and speak to and be listened to? You know, so are you listening to children? And are you protecting children in your homes and making that a place that's free from violence?
Christina, thank you so much. That's Christina Nomdo, the Executive Director of RAPCAN, and we're also proud to know that our friends at Vital support the fight against abuse against children and, of course, women out there. If you'd like to find out a bit more about them, go to www.rapcan.org.za. Right now, over to you, Ilana.
The Vital Foundation takes action against women and child abuse. R1 from every Vital pack will be donated to organizations fighting abuse. Make a difference.